Ready.
And we are live. Maybe refresh here and we'll make sure.
Make sure it didn't kick me off. I had an alert pop up trying to sign me out.
Okay, you know what? It's got the wrong name on it. So I'm going to fix this and give me just a...
We did it.
Are we live? Are we ready to go?
I think we are ready to go. So you're good to go.
All right. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. And welcome to our second virtual meetup for Oklahoma City Digital Marketers Insiders. Today we have Sonni Adams, who wants us to make TikToks and not ads. And with this virtual platform, we're streaming on YouTube. So please feel free to leave us any questions or comments. And Rachel, Mel, and myself will always relay them over to Sonni Adams, who will be able to respond to them for you. And here's a little bit of Sonni before she starts her presentation. Be excellent to each other and do dope stuff with those people. That's Sonni. Sonni Adams is the Vice President and Creative Director of Freestyle Creative, a local artist and supporter of our local arts community. Sonni is obsessed with creating vibrant solutions to deliver dynamic messaging systems across platforms ranging from traditional TV to TikTok, and thrives on moving brands forward by inspiring human connections. She has created award-winning work for Brahms, the Oklahoma City Convention Center, OKC Thunder, Chesapeake Energy Arena, Pfizer, and her favorite clients, nonprofits like Allied Arts and Red Dirt Relief Fund. So Sonni, we are happy to have you here with us today. We are excited to learn about TikTok. So you can go ahead and take it away.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me here. I'm really excited to talk to you guys about why TikTok is taking over and why it is imperative for you guys to secure the handle, get on TikTok, and be ready for the next stage of your social media presence. So to start with, thank you again for having me here. I'm currently living out my greatest fear, which is to speak about my greatest weakness, which is also my current fixation, TikTok. TikTok seems like it's everywhere, even on other social platforms. So today we're going to talk about the importance of making a human and interactive connection through your social, conversational commerce, and the personalization of social media and how it can benefit you today. So again, my name is Sonni Adams. As they said, I am the Vice President and Creative Director at Freestyle Creative. We are an agency that focuses on creating extraordinary brands through full service marketing and advertising. So I have to admit, I just got back from an amazing work trip to South by Southwest. We all piled into 2 cars and drove down and back together, nice little 6-hour drive each way. And I'm happy to report that we are still friends. And another thing to note is we highly recommend a tiki bar called The Placeholder on Rainy Street. So next time you go by Austin, go by The Placeholder, get a Mai Tai, because that's where you're going to get a top 5 Mai Tai. That's the place. And let me be clear, all the drinks were great, but that one, they had a tap in the wall for the Mai Tai. It was stunning. But most importantly, the conference was phenomenal. I got to see Lizzo speak, and I got to be within like 100 yards of her, which is just a triumph in its own. And most importantly, I was able to sit in on some really exciting panels with female leaders like Dee Bethram from Meow Wolf, Julia Shapiro of WeTransfer, and Rachel Bucalo of Facebook. And honestly, I'm still spinning. Seeing these amazing voices and hearing their perspective and how they approach business is amazing. I mean, Dee was a creative genius, and listening to her speak about product and the voice and what they try to do with getting people to interact with their organization was stunning. Being able to listen to someone from Facebook talk about the importance of retail and how 1/3 of Facebook users are going to be making a purchase through the app this next year was really amazing. Also, if I pronounced any of their names wrong and you know that, please correct me later on in the comments. I would love to know to make sure that I pronounce it correctly. But of course, being exposed to so many brilliant minds speaking on so many topics relevant to this exact moment meant that I had to completely rework this presentation and ruin my life. So everything in this presentation has been completely updated based on what I learned at South by Southwest. We've got lots of new perspectives from all the different sessions, and I did it to myself. So how could I not? There were so many nuggets and so many brilliant things these people said. I was just like furiously taking notes the entire time, hoping just to catch even a fraction of what these brilliant brains were saying. There's also probably 3 different presentations squeezed into this presentation. And there's so many tangents that we could take this down, and that's okay. So maybe at the end of this through the Q&A, if you guys are like, hey, this was a really good subject that we touched on, we should talk more about that. We should discuss this more in focus, and this was less valuable. Drop it in the comments. I would love to know what we can do to make this even more valuable to you guys as viewers. So let's jump in. The average user gets 561% more engagement sharing a brand message than when that same brand message is shared by a company on social media. That is a real statistic. That is actual data. And that statistic is why this presentation exists. This is so important for us as brands and brand managers to remember. It isn't a gut feeling. This is data. These are facts. Another piece of data. There it is. 36% of consumers say retailers need to do more to offer specialized and personalized experiences. So 36% kind of sounds like a low number compared to 561% just a second ago, but 72% say they will only engage with personalized messaging. I can see you kind of wiggling in your seats. At least I can sense it. I can't actually see you. So I'm going to assume that you're all sitting there going, but I don't want to get in their space. I don't want to get in their feed. I don't want to raise my head and like get in that space. I want you to take a deep breath and then look at this stat. 73% say a business has never communicated with them online in a way that felt too personalized or invasive. That means that they're ready for you. They want you to interact with them. They want you to make that experience special and something just for them. They want you to be human and personal with them. And last but not least, 98% of marketers say personalization advances customer relationships. That's not them saying that they think it will. That's them saying that they have, and it does. 98% of marketers agree on that. And so if we're all agreeing on this, that means that it's time for us to actually do it. So what does that mean? What does it mean when we say 98%? It means we need to use the algorithm. We need to find that audience, and we need to get personal. And we're better to do all of those things than on TikTok. So random question, who here has been personally victimized by TikTok? This was originally a GIF, but it's not going to present as a GIF because technology hates me sometimes, but this is from Mean Girls, and everyone I'm going to assume is raising your hands in the background right now saying, yes, I've been personally victimized by TikTok if you're on the app. And it's just what it is. You know that you're getting targeted just so thoroughly. You know, TikTok will diagnose every ache, every interest, and every half thought that you've ever had. And you're wondering, how are they doing that? It's the algorithm. The algorithm is the bread and butter of TikTok. The TikTok algorithm was created to be the ultimate tool to connect people. So that's right. If you are a current TikTok user, you know the feeling, like we said, when you're scrolling through your feed and a post hits a little too close to home. That is because you are being connected and dissected second by second. That data is then used to create the all-powerful TikTok algorithm with an ultimate goal. They want to use that data to connect people and ideas. And the power of the algorithm to make those connections, good and bad, honestly, sometimes you're like, please stop. But most of the time you're like, oh, I learned something about myself. That's really cool. Or, oh, I didn't know that this was something I should care about. That's really cool. That's what it's for. And the goal is to bring audiences together, whether they realize they had a commonality or not. But also think about it like this. This is what we want. Consumers want They want that algorithm. They love the algorithm. The algorithm is their life. I wouldn't be surprised if there's shrines to algorithm out there. It's literally this: 90% of consumers are willing to share personal behavior data with companies for a cheaper and easier experience. They want you to know everything about them. They're actively going out there and saying, here's my information. What about me? It's like the algorithm and our internet usage is it's a personality test almost, and it's constant. But what does this mean for you guys when people say, when 90% of consumers are willing to share this data? It means that they want the experience of interacting with you. It means that they want you to find them with less time and effort spent developing a connection with you. They just want to already be in the relationship. They want you to come in and be 3 dates in, and you know who you are, you know the likes, you know if you want kids. That's what people want. They want that kind of an interaction. So some of you probably up to this point think that I've been talking about exclusively paid sponsored ads and content. And that's not necessarily true. And here's why. Usually in your gut, you know when you're being served an ad, and you probably either have one of 2 reactions. One, you swipe away immediately. You will not be served that ad. You are not there for that ad. You don't care. 2, you don't realize it's an ad, and then you accidentally watch the whole video. And then you're watching it again on accident, and you're just like, wait a second, this was for that product, or this was for this person or this company. And then you're just like, oh, okay. And then you just kind of absorb it and you let it sit in the back of your head. The second is the other reason why we're here today. It's because we're here to talk about that part of the puzzle. One of the ways to break through to your audience on a platform that is taking over. So what does that mean? It means that brands are turning into personalities. Your values and your mission statement are becoming your conversation style. How you actually have a conversation with people with tone and empathy is how brands are moving forward. It seems a little ridiculous to think down this path sometimes, but you know, in the back of your head, you've already recognized this in brands, and especially in brands that have had accelerated growth over the last few years. Some examples of brands that you may or may not have recognized that are doing a wonderful job of this, specifically on TikTok, are brands such as Duolingo, Oreo, and Ryanair. Now, we're in America, so we don't get served a lot of Ryanair, but I found them, I love what they're doing, and I think they're a really interesting group to consider. The way that they're turning their personality into their story into a personality with just a single viewing is wonderful. And I'm going to admit right now, I'm going to try to share some of these videos, but we all know the joy of trying to share a video via Zoom and the quality and how it could turn out. So just know that I've got this presentation. I can share it with whoever wants it with these videos actually linked, and you can watch them at your own time also. But I'm going to go ahead and try to play these, and hopefully it doesn't catch just like the 5th frame of everyone. So let's start with Duolingo. And turn my volume up. All right. If it loads, which it might not. Maybe it won't. This is the joy of a live broadcast, guys, because sometimes the things just don't work.
You're doing great, Sonni. We tried.
there was an attempt. Essentially, this is Duolingo saying, hey guys, you can't get rid of me because I'm on TikTok now. You can't ignore things. And also, look, they're hashtagging Dua Lipa. Like, why? It's for fun. The next one is an ad is not an ad, but it's a post by Oreo, and it's to celebrate their birthday. Theoretically. Better idea. I'll refresh it. There you go. There you go.
How old are you?
I have no idea.
110.
What?
How old are you?
I have no idea.
110.
What?
How old are you?
Amazing. And then with Ryanair. So what's funny about Ryanair is I originally had a different video selected.
Girls.
I had a different video selected, but they took it down. So we're going to talk about that later on, about the joy of creativity and how you can kind of pop in and pop out. Maybe it doesn't work. Maybe you take it down. Maybe you try something different. We're going to talk about that later. But I just thought this was really great. This was Ryanair's post for International Women's Day. They use this it's this filter where you can select only your eyes and your mouth, and you can plug it onto things and create a character out of it. And so that's what they've done to personalize their airline, is they've literally put a face on their planes, and they have them interact with comments and other airlines and stuff like that. So let's catch it.
Come on. Leave the saving the world to the men? I don't think so. I don't think so.
Big time, lot of slime, smoky in the air, that's a lot of pot. Pockets running over.
Amazing. That's personality. That's something fun. I really do wish that their original video was still up there, because it was hilarious and I loved every second of it. But it's okay. I chose these examples honestly because they're all chaotic, different examples of what your voice and what TikTok can be, and how many different directions you can take a video and a post on TikTok. Creativity is one of the few human endeavors where you can crash your airplane and walk away from it. So about the fourth time I read through this presentation, I had the realization that this quote directly after a TikTok from an airline might not be the best vibe, but I'm going to stand with it because I love David Bowie and I love this quote. And I think that it really speaks to the mindset that you need to have when it comes to your brand, your company, your service, and to give you permission to just play around. It is the antidote to all fear that brands have. Just try it. Just keep trying. And so what does that mean? It means we're going to create. You're going to, with that lack of fear, just create your little heart out just as much as you can, whatever you can. Just find a groove and play with it, because it's like all things. The more you do it, the more you get used to it, the better idea you get of the project and the persona and all those pieces. So you're going to create. You're going to take that newfound permission and you're going to start creating your social persona. So let's talk about that more. Your social media, and obviously this is a TikTok presentation, so specifically TikTok, is what I see as your non-scripted spokesperson, someone who embodies the mission and values we spoke about, but also has flaws and can humanize them, because that's the ultimate point of social media, making human connections. That's why you see those interactions with brands. That's why you saw that stat with 561% with a person with a brand message versus a brand is so staggering. And it's because of this. People want those human connections. They want to connect with the voice behind the brand, not the brand. And focusing on those connections can come in a variety of forms. But the one we're going to focus on today is the power of a conversational human connection. Conversational connections lead to emotional connections. And that mixed with a strong brand message is the sweet spot. It's where we want to be. Conversational, emotional, brand. Those three things, it really is like, that's the perfect ad. That's what you're looking for in any piece of content that you make in the end. But TikTok does a really, really great job of making it possible. And I mentioned emotional connections, and I feel like emotional connections, are actually the sign of a truly personalized and conversational brand strategy with the use of media to elicit an emotional response. Let me repeat that. I feel like emotional connections are actually the sign of a true personalized and conversational brand strategy with the use of media to elicit an emotional response. So your response, a lot of people automatically have a negative connotation. They think it's going to be like a hate comment or angry moments or something, but it could be respect, joy, excitement, embarrassment, fear, but maybe only fear if you're like a ghost, like a haunted show or a spooky house or something that's purposefully supposed to be fearful, but you know what I mean? Like it can be any of those emotions. Anyways, what do I mean by conversational? It is as simple as how you talk with individuals who interact with your content. Now, if I asked you for an example of this, a smart response would be Wendy's on Twitter. Their ads and their non-text content are pretty innocuous, but they still have that kind of Wendy's flair that's hard to put your finger on. There is the question, of course, did the Wendy's flair I'm talking about exist before their Twitter presence erupted into fame with their social voice overall of 2017 or after? Because that's an important note. 2017, they had a huge overhaul with how they interacted with their audiences, but that's probably an entirely different presentation. But you begin to see how brands interact with their audiences and their voyeurs and immediately get the feeling that there is a single human being behind the keyboard who has been given a truly staggering amount of trust. And if their bosses and therefore the entire company trust them, and you're a target audience, you technically trust them. So just look at these random, like just look at this voice. Hot or cold doesn't matter because any drink in a Wendy's cup is free when you grab one of our breakfast Sammies. Look at how they're using language there. That isn't something that any proofreader, editor of mine would ever allow. They would freak out. They would say, that is not AP style. That is not ML style, whichever version you take. They would lose their mind. But they know who they're communicating with, and they are using these language cues to connect with that audience and make them go, look, you are a part of our lifestyle. You are a part of this. And they even respond with cute comments like, need those icy, fizzy, yummy ones. Why not? Grab a 10-piece nugs. They use nugs instead of nuggets, free in the app. I dare you. Amazing. The use of this GIF and their response, a work of art. And then, of course, always a Baconator. And look how excited people are when they respond. They have developed a cult following with this audience. Ultimately, you're finding your commonality and respect for the voice and their opinions through things other than their product. But there is a correlation between the voice and the product. And therefore, the product kind of gets the chance to rest in its trustful glow. So it's tricky. Is everyone going to agree with this voice? Is everyone going to agree with the person and what they're saying? Probably not. In fact, definitely not. But honestly, how is that different than any of us? We all have people we don't agree with. We all have sayings and things that it's just like, nope, that's not for us, but that's okay. That's part of what makes it human. Because if you agreed with everything someone said, there would be no relationship. It would be boring. It is the development of the singular iconic voice that has made Wendy's move to TikTok an easier transition than most. They practically have a script and can ask themselves, is this what Wendy would do? And you have a pretty clear idea if the answer would be yes or no. Would Wendy make a trust the process video? Absolutely. Wendy has six skills and an irreverent sense of humor. Flawless. Would Wendy's make a nostalgia video? Of course they would. They love a throwback, and they probably were friends with these people. I know I hung out with people that look like this. I had friends like this, and some of them I still hang out with. I remember going to Wendy's after the Wolf Trap in Edmond, probably twice a week for 2 years. So absolutely they would. You remember trying to drink the shake out of those straws. It was not physically possible. I distinctly remember that. That is the type of thing that makes people pause and have that emotional reaction that we talked about, that nostalgia, that moment where you're just like, looking in the background of that video going, am I there? Am I in that scene? Because like, I've been there, I've seen that. And then it makes you go, I want to relive that memory. Wendy's, it's fantastic. Good advertising is as little advertising as possible. That quote is from Brent Anderson. And from the single South by Southwest panel, I am most upset that I missed. It's okay. They uploaded the audio version of the panel, so I'm much happier now. But it should be noted, Brent is the Global Chief Creative Officer for TBWA Media Arts Lab, the global network of agencies responsible for one of the world's most iconic brands, Apple. That's right. Apple only works with one agency and it's his. So when you see an Apple ad, you're seeing his brain at work. Now, if you need to provide if you provide a service to help people, if you're a business, let's consider these stats. 2/3 of social media users prefer to buy from brands who deliver relevant ads and customized shopping experiences. And half of TikTok users have made purchases on the app. I did not realize that about the half of TikTok users. That is huge. And you're probably thinking this is just a kids app, an app for dancing, an app for being silly. You're wrong. People are making real financial and personal decisions based on what they get served on a daily basis. If you can get your product or service to go viral in any way, you'll do very well. But that's not ultimately the goal. The goal is to make those connections. And I can see you're still questioning it. Does it seem worth it to join TikTok? It's a whole new platform to have to deal with, honestly. It's just another social media platform, more content, more messaging, more work. I get it, because that's what it is. It is work. But what do you think when you see these numbers? So we've got over 3 billion downloads, over 689 million active users, not including China. They've increased their consumer spending by 77% in 2021. Remember that 50% of TikTok users? That's where that number's coming in too. You get 8 new users every second, and it's now more popular than Instagram among Gen Z users in the United States. And Gen Z is a fantastic audience to be going after with some of your products. So definitely keep that in mind. I know myself, I'm not Gen Z, I'm a millennial. I am rarely on Instagram anymore. If it is anything, it's to post a story and then I'm out. I don't scroll anymore because the algorithm on Instagram's gotten to be a challenge. So the sheer size of the audience you can be exposed to, the variety of storytelling methods, the almost scary algorithm, they're all pointing to TikTok being your next step. TikTok is the #1 app for driving consumer spending, surpassing Tinder for the top spot. That's a crazy statistic, surpassing Tinder. Amazing. So you're wondering why I mentioned Wendy's earlier and their social media voice. You might be a little confused by it. And it's because we're talking about the power of personality, conversational commerce. So here's the real question. Are you more likely to buy from Wendy's now than from other burger brands? The data says yes. Actually, wait, that is the wrong stat. I know as Oklahomans, we're really excited there for a second when we saw Sonic in the #3 spot, didn't we? But sorry, guys, we're #4. Like I said, the data says yes. Wendy's is the third largest quick serve hamburger company in the country, maybe the world. I can't remember honestly what the statistic was between them. $4.5 billion market cap. And here's a piece that stuck out to me specifically. Remember how I mentioned in 2017, they had their social relaunch of their voice. In just 5 years, they've had over $500 million in revenue growth. That's huge. And that is a large part to do with the fact that they have been able to be relevant, stay relevant, and connect with their audiences. So when you take those pieces we've talked about, the personalization, the conversations, the humanity of your voice, you've created a brand strategy. And if a brand strategy aligns with your audience's values, you're not selling a product or a service anymore. You're selling a lifestyle, something people can connect and relate with to create human connections we crave, to create the human connections we crave, and what social media is built for. There are so many brands that are doing a stunning job of personalizing their content and messaging, highly tailoring their talking points to very specific audiences, all of that. But there's one thing that TikTok does better than anything else, and that's allowing users to use their words to talk about a brand, and then brands then using that to continue their word of mouth and how they apply to things. So here's an example of someone just enjoying the content that Duolingo has.
Whoa. Sorry, I'm still on Paris time. Like, shut up, Susie. We know you're from Missouri. This account is my antidepressant. Adding this to my LinkedIn. Down, bird, down. I'm angry. Kenny second, I'm the hottest. Pretty sure I'm the hottest.
Imagine if your company allowed you to have that type of a voice, to make those types of comments. That would be fantastic. And let's take things one step further. What if it wasn't you selling your product? Remember the stat of 561% more engagement? When you can get people to talk about your brand in a positive manner without having to ask, you're doing something right. And that is the ultimate goal. Let the user experience speak for itself and be a door to communicate with an even wider audience. Having a Baja breakdown, we're here for you.
Can you please riddle me this? How come I go on a date with a guy who burps and spits and complains how it's hard for him to shop for dress shirts because his proportions are too disproportionate? But when I do a few jazz hands, he ends the date. Well, anyways.
Welcome to Taco Bell.
Hi, can I have a large frozen Baja Blast?
That's one of my favorite videos. That video, they purchased the rights to use that video and create an ad out of it. Taco Bell did. So one person can have more influence on consumer trust than an entire organization, and Taco Bell recognized that. So
Hey, Sonni, this is Rachel. I'm so sorry to interrupt. I'm getting a weird notice on Zoom saying that our time is expiring, even though we have a pro account. So I think let's keep going. And if it ends, if everybody's on the chat, we will continue to chat on YouTube about the questions. But I want you to keep going. And I am so sorry that this is happening. And I may just have to send you another link if we need to, but you've got this.
I got this. I can power through. Don't even stress.
Yeah.
So you guys have 2.5 seconds to grab attention, elicit an emotion, and be intentional. People won't read a social post for 2.5 seconds, but you can watch 2.5 seconds of video and learn something profound. And for brands, that 2.5 seconds means that you have 2.5 seconds to get that emotion, trigger a memory, and establish your brand. And in TikTok, you have an infinite number of ways and chances to do exactly that. Here's another great example. I want you to just 2.5 seconds of this video is all you need. You don't need anything more than that, and you're immediately there. With this, they trended immediately to be way more popular. Their media searches were increased drastically. You know that song was immediately put on the top 10 list. So 2.5 seconds, it's worth it. You're hooked. You're there for the vibe. You're there for the energy. You're going to play that song on repeat. You might even grab a cranberry cocktail for funsies the next time you go to the store. So why not? And if something doesn't work, keep trying and learning. There's no reason not to. But here's my housekeeping really quick in the last minute. Secure the handle, get on TikTok and secure that username right now. Even if you don't have content planned, if you don't think that you're going to be on TikTok, get on there and secure the handle. Because otherwise in the future, you will have to be really, really creative or buy a handle from someone. That's the thing people are actually doing. They're like securing handles to force people to buy it from them eventually. Another thing, be really quick with responses. And this is something you should do on all platforms, but they should do it on all platforms. But with TikTok, those responses can turn into mini subject matter expert moments that can be dropped in the algorithm to help someone who didn't know that you were a solution that existed. The importance here is recognition and interaction and being a part of system of support. It's just as important to show the other commenters and viewers that you care about what's happening as it is to actually help the person having that challenge. And most importantly, make it memorable.